You are the answer. Morning. Welcome to our solo walk. I just taking a little break from splitting wood here as I was splitting wood this morning. And that couple of the comments from previous videos kind of going through my head. So I just thought I'd address the two of them. Not to start with anyway. We'll see where we go. But the first one was a comment on when I did the video about consciousness in your higher self. And somebody commented about the idea that, the idea of vibration sounded kind of tinny to them. But the idea of vibration, your vibe frequency, that's totally your choice and up to you, and that as to where you vibrations, we can get into all kinds of scientific even explanations of vibrations and frequencies. It's all measurable. How they do it, I have no idea. And frankly, I really don't give a shit, because you can sense the vibrations. Yeah, you sense that yourself. You can walk into a room where there's been an argument or disagreements or a scrap or whatever, and you can sense that lower vibration as soon as you walk into the room. Yet you can walk into a room where it's filled with love and compassion, and you sense that right off. And that's that vibration, the vibe, the frequency. And you don't need scientific studies and all the other garbage to know that that's an actual thing. I guess you can put it that way. But yeah, vibration, you put that out. The higher vibrations, the higher frequency is, love, compassion, kindness, and that's where we as spiritual being, even as human, that's where we can thrive, where we can where we can thrive, I guess, is a good way to put it. But the lower vibrations, the anger, bitterness, worry, anxieties, all that stuff is destructive to our being. And like I've said in other videos, I think that the entities, the parasites that are manipulating this reality, this world, whatever you want to call it, I really think that they feed off of that low vibration, and that as you raise your vibration, your frequency, that it takes away their power, put it that way. So yeah, that was the first little thought that was going through my head while I was splitting wood here this morning. And the other one was somebody asked, what is truth? And is truth the same for everybody, or is it different? Does each person have their own truth? And it depends what you are asking when you ask what is truth, I guess. You know, what are you thinking truth is, I guess, or the concept of truth, or you know, I think we'd all like to think that what we believe is the truth, and that truth is subjective, but it's not, I don't think. Sit over here, the sun's a little different, not shining in my eyes. But yeah, it's, you know, just because we believe something doesn't make it the truth. Yeah, there's lots of fundamental truths, you know, biological truths, and that we know to be true, but the system tries to deceive you into believing that those things aren't even true, and but you know, there's, like I said, there's biological truths, and you all know what I'm talking about, and that, and you know, if you had asked me 25 years ago, I'd tell you, yeah, I know the truth. I know the way. And that. But as you seek, as you open your mind, open your heart, and that, and you, or at least for me, I come to understand that those belief systems that I swore was the truth and the only way, and that was all something somebody told me that I decided to agree with and believe what they told me. That's all belief is, in my view, is something somebody told you and you agreed with, and you decided to take that as truth. But as you seek, I guess, as you do open your heart and your mind, and you start to take a look at things from the 40,000 foot level, like I've said before, instead of at ground level, and you see that many of the things that we're told are true are just mechanisms of control, of ways to manipulate what you think, and to harness your efforts, you know, and that, and as you seek, well, at least for myself, I come to understand and understand that the belief is, like I said, just what somebody says, and it's got to come from a knowing within, and I think that's the truth, that the answer is you, and from in. You look inward, connect with this spirit, connect with the Creator. You know, realize that we're all wearing masks, we're all in a play. You know, this is the, I don't know, one of the writers of the past said the whole world's a stage. I don't even remember who it was, but that, I think, is maybe a true statement. You know, but as we seek and you come to the knowing that we are all part of the same consciousness, part of the same Creator, just acting the play as you or I, to experience and to enjoy. And as we seek to remember who we are and what we are, I think we come to, or at least for myself, come to more of a knowing of who I am, that I am a spark of the Creator, a co-creator. And yeah. So, what is truth? If I knew exactly, we wouldn't be seeking, remember. But I think maybe for the time in this realm, in this reality, and the way things are going, maybe the better question is, what's the lie? What isn't true? And realize that 90% or 95% of the stories you've been told are just stories, are lies, manipulations, deceits. That it's, you know, the parasites that are trying to manipulate everything want you to believe that you're not complete, that you can't do it, that it's impossible for you to be anything more than just that cog in a wheel. And realize that that's a lie. One thing I know from deep within is that you were born, you're whole, complete, more than enough, and you still are. You've been deceived into thinking different, maybe. You've been lied to, led down all kinds of strange paths. And, you know, that's, I think, why we need our little solo walks. Take a walk, you know, connect. Like I said before, you know, take your shoes off, connect with the earth here, get grounded, you know. Quit listening to the noise. And when you hear all the noise that's going around and that, you know, look for the signal behind that noise, because they always will give you this. There is a signal behind that noise, but we've been so indoctrinated into listening to that noise and into the stories and into the lies that we don't even know answers to the question of what is true anymore. So that's, I think, why we're seeking. We're awakening. We're starting to understand who and what we are and what the truth is. And yeah, there's to me, there's no individual truths and my truth or your truth. There is the truth, and that's what we're seeking and drawing closer to that. And we're on that solo walk, but we're on that walk together. And as we unite, as we start to realize that the divisions are all fictitious, that we're all just one humanity, one consciousness, and we can start to draw closer to the truth, to the knowing. But it all starts with you. Like I said, you are the answer. And together, we will triumph, and we will rise above all the noise. To be what we were placed here to be. To reconnect. To remember. Yeah, I think that's where I'll just leave it for today. Knowing that there is a truth out there. There's, like I've said, there's all the fundamental truths. And they want you to believe that even the biological truths aren't truth anymore, aren't facts. You know, there's truth and there's facts. And some things are just pretty much undeniable as far as this human experience is concerned, for being factual. And like I said, just because you believe something doesn't make it a fact and doesn't make it true. It's just a belief. So, like I said, just seek that connection with Spirit, with Creator, with Gaia. Everything's consciousness. Everything's conscious. We're all connected. So, raise the vibrations. Act out of love, compassion, kindness. Look to each other for strength. But be the love that you are. Be the best you can be. And, you know, as we go through our day, just do the best you can. Stop reacting. And start looking at things from a maybe a little different perspective sometimes. And just take the pause sometimes to look at things instead of reacting right away. Anyway, we'll leave it there. I could ramble on here all day. I gotta get back to splitting wood. So know you're loved. Reach out, give your loved ones a hug. Tell them they're loved. Look at yourself in the mirror. And mean it when you look at yourself. Tell yourself that you are love, that you are loved, that you got this. Together we will triumph. Be blessed. Know you're loved. Have a great day, and we'll talk at you again. Bye-bye.